West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
7 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Monday, September 29th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned in to the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Bill Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center. Let's go back to the phone lines. Ron Greeley. Good morning, Ron. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Morning, guys. Hey, I think this is actually the perfect time to do what In Living Color did and have a new network come up with a competitor. We haven't had that since Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Now that you have these bad shows, you find somebody, because they say, like Bill just said, the older people, they're not even catering to them. But it's the older people that have the big bucks, right? So find a different place, let them do it, because I'm so tired of these kids getting everything, right? I mean, because the parents, okay, yeah, here you go. Because that's what the NFL saw. That's why they're doing this. Why are they doing these horrible shows time and time again?
Lifetime value of the
Ron,
consumer.
I'm with you. But yeah, go ahead, Bill.
And Ron, it's lifetime value of the consumer. And what that means is, here's the thing. Let's say that you're a middle school kid. If I can establish brand preference for Pepsi or Coke when you're in middle school, that means you're more likely to have brand preference for the rest of your life. Trying to reinforce brand preference in 40 plus, once you get to like 55 plus, you're somewhat out of your prime demographic years as far as earning and also as far as consumerism. And so that's what the NFL is looking at, is that those individuals from 40 plus are already consumers. And what they're looking at is they're trying to establish brand preference for those kids. So for the kids that are from 13 to 35, they're trying to establish the brand preference that'll carry them for the next few decades.
Okay, so what do you do when the people that are buying the drinks, let's just stay with that logic, buying all the drinks, buying their Pepsi, buying their Coke, and then all of a sudden they bring in Red Bull and all these other power drinks, and they're like, no, I want my Pepsi and Coke. So I'm going to go to this other store that's selling the Pepsi and Coke.
Yeah, what I'll tell you to that, Ron, what I'll tell you that is talk to every single parent of a tween or early teenager about buying Prime energy drinks.
Exactly.
Just have the conversation. And this is the issue, is that what we don't acknowledge is that buying behavior for parents especially, so those 35 plus, more times than not, that's the parent window as far as larger consumerism. A vast majority of those choices and consumer choices are dictated based on kids. And what I mean by that is the yogurt you buy, the cereal you buy is based on your kids. The fast food places you stop are based on your kids. The movies you visit more and see more times than not are based on your kids. The streaming services you have more times than not based on your kids. And even down to the clothes you buy, because you're buying kid clothes a whole hell of a lot more than you're buying your own adult clothes. So even though the kids don't get to make the decision, the kids are making the decision. That's the reason it's so important.
Well, okay, and I agree with you. However, think back to when we were kids. I mean, you guys are still kind of young.
Oh, yeah.
Still,
I like to pretend. Yeah.
You go back. And what did your parents say when I want this, I want this? They knew, okay, yeah, you know what? You've had enough of that already. You're going to have this. Too bad. Those days are gone. And you're right. It is based on the kids. But the parents aren't controlling the kids. That's why we have the problems we have.
Ron, I think going to the idea of an alternative, like if the Super Bowl's on NBC and Fox embraces this notion of like, we're going to do a pro-America halftime show. None of this platforming some guy who won't even do a concert in America because he's so anti-ICE. If you did that and put Trump on and stuff, Oh, it would be awesome. And it would give the NFL the headache they deserve. Go ahead, Ron.
Yes. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ron. I'm not against that. Especially the thing though is that what Fox would have to do is it would have to be probably something. I doubt they could pull it with politics. And In Living Color did it based on comedy. Yeah. I don't think that is not Fox's forte. So they would have to do it.
You don't think we could Bud Light the NFL during Super Bowl?
Here's the idea. It would have to be done properly, and this is what I'm saying. I don't think that you win that based on comedy. I don't think by saying Gutfield is going to have a special 15 minutes, I don't think you're drawing enough eyeballs to make it matter. If you get a competing musical act, you might have something, but it would have to be the right competing musical act.
Right.
So the idea of Big and Rich isn't going to work. That will not work. You're going to have to find somebody bigger and more contemporary if you're going to siphon off the eyeballs. I'm not saying I think it's a great idea if you want to prove the point. Go right ahead. But who's the network that's going to take that step at that time? So that would be the question. And it's got to be either something that's going to be, for me, comedy, or you're going to have to counter program as far as music. Yeah. And you're not going to be able to get it with something like an older act. That's not going to work. Personally, I don't think
What is that thing that you shoot and it explodes a lot?
Missiles. No, I'm sorry. Just silly.
It's like it's a thing that you
like
shoot.
The confetti cannon or the t-shirt cannon?
You shoot a bullet at it and then it explodes, like in fire. And you use it in target practice a lot, and it like brings like extra explosions. I'm just saying, whatever Fox or
phosphorus type of a thing.
What's that? Phosphorus?
Well, phosphorus will when it's
something.
We'll
get the text message because people will actually know this.
Yeah,
I won't.
Not me, because I'm an idiot.
But whatever they do, it's just lots of explosions. If this alternative just had tons of really cool like explosions and maybe machine guns and tanks.
Okay,
just
there may
go
be something.
Go overtly like redneck American.
If you actually just advertised it as, hey, here's a list of things we're going to blow up in the next 15 minutes. Okay, you might have something there. You might. If you give me the list of what it is, okay. I might actually tune in to see them blow some stuff up. Okay, I can see the appeal there, my friend. I can see the appeal.
Tannerite! I love
Tannerite. There we go. Thank you. Yes, that makes sense now. Thank you. You guys rock. Thank you.
I can throw anything out there. You guys are like better than Google. Because I actually Googled it. And I said, shoot something and have it explode. And
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
We cannot provide any answers to this. And then 8835 delivers.
I'll tell you.
Tannerite.
Yes. And then he's asking, do you want to buy some? I can swing by the studio later.
Yeah. Our listeners are better than Google and better than Grubhub or any of those delivery
DoorDash
services.
Or anything else,
DoorDash.
They're fantastic.
Oh, you guys are the best. All right, we'll get to Michael in a second. Now it's time for news and comments with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good Monday morning, 51 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 76 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
He drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church.
Absolutely horrible. On Sunday, the FBI investigating the deadly attack at an LDS church in Grand Blanc, Michigan. 4 people and the shooter were killed Sunday morning. 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, a veteran, was the shooter.
I can confirm at this time that the FBI is now leading the investigation and is investigating this as an act of targeted violence. FBI crisis response teams, such as our evidence response teams, SWAT, Special Agent Bomb Technicians, victim specialists, were deployed to the scene.
He was fatally shot by responding officers. Several others were injured. Just a horrible scene in Grand Blanc as the entire church was on fire and rubble, of course, everywhere. Charlie Kirk's suspected assassin set to appear virtually at a hearing today. Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray formally charged Tyler Robinson with aggravated murder on September 16th, making the 22-year-old eligible once again for the death penalty if found guilty. DJT meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu at the White House today to discuss ongoing efforts in Gaza. Netanyahu told the UN Friday that the fight against Hamas is not over, while 47 expressed optimism that a deal could be reached to secure the release of hostages and bring an end to the conflict. The president meets with congressional leaders also later today in order to avoid a shutdown. Oh, they love this. The Demis love this. Used for political purposes by Democrats.
The truth is that shutting down the government is a serious and dangerous action that we must do everything possible to prevent. Shutting down the government would impact tens of millions of our fellow Americans who would be unable to access government services. It would severely impact federal employees who would not get the paychecks they expected.
It's actually about 30% non-essential, and everybody knows. I don't think anyone buys this anymore. Colorado's fall foliage frenzy drew thousands to the high country over the weekend, with visitors flocking to Georgetown to see the vibrant autumn colors. Local business owners like China Tipton at the Trading Post say the season brings a welcome boost.
I, as a business owner, am grateful for the influx of people and the visitors. We're always grateful to see them. So I guess there's a balance that they need to find.
So after Saturday's gridlock shut down parts of town, traffic flowed more smoothly Sunday thanks to one-way patterns and barriers on residential streets. The 47th administration is being sued by the state of Oregon and the city of Portland in an effort to block the Department of National Guard troops to Portland, deployment of National Guard troops to Portland. Over the weekend, DJT said he would be sending troops to protect Portland ICE facilities from domestic terrorists in a war-ravaged city. And it's true. It has been going on all night and into the morning there. People just deny, and they don't care about the police or authority or anything. They are terrorists. Meanwhile, the National Guard is expected to arrive in Memphis sometime this week. A man is dead, found in the landing gear compartment of an American Airlines flight from Europe. The body was discovered Sunday at Charlotte Douglas International Airport in North Carolina while the aircraft was being serviced. My goodness. The New York City Mayor Eric Adams announced he's dropping his bid for re-election, leaving a three-way race between Democratic frontrunner Kami Mamdani and former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. Sliwa's the best candidate, but it's going to be impossible, it looks like, for him. Hey, Dana White on 60 Minutes over the weekend.
You know, you talk about knowing your fan base and knowing who they are.
Who are they?
18 to 34-year-old males and growing. We're global. We are definitely unapologetically masculine.
Can this bubble over to too much? When you hear toxic masculinity,
what's that mean?
You tell me.
No, you just said it. What's the definition of toxic? How can somebody be too masculine? Is that a possibility? Can you be too masculine?
You tell me.
No.
You think so?
The answer is hell no.
I agree with that. Last night, Packers at the Cowboys, 7 seconds to play. Packers down 3 in OT. Chance to win it here.
As Love takes the snap. The game right here. Better be quick. Love to the end zone. It is broken up with 1 second to go.
That was so poorly managed. the game before they had a chance to tie it.
McManus for the
So they're down by 3.
And this one is good, and this one ends in the second highest scoring tie game in NFL history.
And the fans go, I mean, they go to bed, the Cowboys and Packers fans, knowing that it ends in a tie. Nobody wins. Nobody loses. Ugh, and that is why we don't want field goals in football. CU Buffs fall to the BYU Cougars at Folsom over the weekend. And Coach Prime.
Tough fought game. I can't say I'm highly upset with a few things, but sometimes when it seems like you had
Oh, man, had all the talent. He goes on and talks about have more talent than the other team and you can't win it. Well, going to have to figure that out. I don't know what that means. Put it together. 49 in Broomfield, 50 in Englewood, 51 in Denver. The Broncos take on the Bengals tonight. Kickoff 6:15 at Mile High. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
The Denver forecast here on KNUS this early Monday. A few passing clouds, temperatures around 55 as you start the day. Mostly sunny for the rest of your Monday, highs in the upper 70s. Overnight lows tonight in the low 50s. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, highs around 80 under mostly sunny skies. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's go back to the phone lines. Michael Arvada. Good morning, Michael. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Happy Monday, guys.
Oh, happy Monday. I can't believe it came this quickly, man. It sucks.
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed out about the choice of halftime show. I had a better idea.
Who do you
Yeah,
like?
I could have picked a better group. You guys ever hear of Mac Sabbath?
Oh, I don't know Black Sabbath. No.
Amazon Mary AC Sabbath. They're a parody group. They parody Black Sabbath songs, but instead of singing scary stuff about the occult and the devil, they sing about scary stuff about fast foods. And their lead singer is the guy who made it up. This wicked-looking dude, looks like a Ronald McDonald. And his name is Ronald.
They're like ghoulish McDonald characters.
Yeah, that's it. His name's Ronald Osborne, and he's got the guy made up like Mayor McCheese on guitar, Grimace on bass, and the Hamburglar on drums, but he's got the Peter Criss makeup from Kiss. And instead of doing Paranoid, they do a song called Parabuns, like Parabuns on a hamburger.
I can't believe Bill doesn't know about them. Bill, I feel like this would be right up your alley.
I don't know Mac Sabbath. I do know Little Kiss. I mean, that's those guys are good.
Yeah,
midgets doing Kiss songs. That's fantastic.
Oh, you got to see them live.
Mini Kiss is fantastic.
They do one called More Ribs instead of War Pigs, and Ronald Osborne he eats a McRib on stage and he spits it out. It's hilarious. You got to see these guys.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's fantastic. Okay,
yeah,
now I would
look them up
I would go with that if we go all the way into it. That it is like you do a Mini Kiss, you do the Mac Sabbath, you do Cybertronic Spree, which is a band that dresses up like Transformers and plays songs.
I've seen those guys. Yeah.
You do those. Then what you do is, and you do that, and then you
They're
get
actually
to.
up,
They're
actually open
fantastic.
for next year.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Then you go to and you get Necrogoblicon, which is a band that is fronted by a fake goblin, and then you finish with Guar. You kind of step up each time.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, each time, then we're good. Yeah, I'd go with that.
These guys have a Guar. Check them out on YouTube. You won't regret it.
Oh, I will have to.
Michael, thank you.
Oh, I've got a wormhole this afternoon. This is fantastic.
Oh,
I like this.
yeah. I'll let you go down that.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I went to a Guar show, was not even a Christian at that point, was like, yep, too far. Too far.
The thing is,
backing out of this.
They're trying to offend. I've seen them once.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
I'd say so.
Yeah, they're just trying. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Okay, yeah. It's like, I went just because I want to see the spectacle. I just enjoy that idea of, okay, you're going to do this on stage. I'm going to watch them. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, not my thing, but okay, yeah.
Sad news over the weekend. This church that was attacked in Michigan.
Yeah.
Horrible. 4 dead, at least now. They're still going through some of the rubble. This guy that was a Marine at one point, Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40 years old, drove a truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, set it on fire, and opened fire during the Sunday service. 7 people, in addition to the 4 that are dead, confirmed dead, 7 are in stable condition. 1 remains in critical condition. 2 were killed by gunfire. 2 others were found after the fire. The shooter, armed with what appeared to be a rifle, exchanged gunfire with officers and was killed at the scene. The FBI is leading the case. ATF, state, and local authorities are assisting. I have seen some video of people that had, there was a guy that was running for office, city council, and came by this guy's house, confirmed it was Thomas Jake Sanford about a week ago, and said that the guy had espoused really anti-Mormon statements to the point that it made him uncomfortable. He was an LDS. The city councilman was not LDS, but then left. So early indicators showing that may be the motivation, which is just terrible, where we are. And I have a few thoughts on this, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints lost its president over the weekend as well. And I have LDS friends. I am not LDS. But I texted LDS friends, essentially sending condolences to them because it's the leader of their church. I have great friendships with the LDS community. I think they make tremendous neighbors. Some of the best neighbors I've ever had in my life are LDS people. I would kind of jokingly tell my LDS friend who was my neighbor that if I asked him to dig a pool for me, he would. He was that sacrificial. Whatever we needed, he was always there. I think they make fantastic neighbors. I want to raise this because I was asked to speak at a religious freedom event hosted by the LDS community down at the state capitol. Jared Polis was there, Democrats were there, all that stuff. And first of all, I want to give my condolences to the LDS community on the loss of their president, but then on this targeted attack, because Mormons do not deserve this. No matter how you feel about the Mormon church, you may disagree with their theology. I disagree with their theology, okay? They do not deserve this. They are fine, upstanding Americans. They care for their community. They're some of the nicest people out there. This is how I feel kind of about the attacks on the Jewish community, too. Where I'm like, I have fundamental theological disagreements, big time. But this attack that takes place on good people that make up good aspects of our community is just terrible. I gave this speech because oftentimes you can get into this interfaith kumbaya type of thing, right? So if you get a Baptist and a Catholic and a Mormon and Jewish people together and we're all going to talk about interfaith, it kind of like descends into like the lowest common denominator of can't we all just get along type of stuff. And what I'm far more intrigued with, Bill, and what I think we've lost in this nation is to have fundamental disagreements. Like serious disagreements. Bill, you and I seriously disagree over very important issues.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And we don't kill each other over it.
No.
Like that's the issue that I think we've lost here is like you get together and it's like, oh, we're all humans at the end of the day. Okay, I get that. But I think there's something much bigger here. And it's the ability to have very serious disagreements about theology, about the nature of God, about direction of this country, about ICE, for instance, right? And not pick up a gun and shoot one another. That's where I'm just so sad and sorry for my Mormon friends who had to deal with this. This is terrible. And if that is the motivation, if that ends up becoming the motivation, I am sorry. It's the way I feel about watching Jews get lit on fire in Boulder. I don't want you to have to live in America with this type of fear. Now, it doesn't mean we don't disagree, but I'm sorry you have to live in a country like this. Bill, your thoughts?
Yeah. This will surprise nobody that's been listening to the show longer than a few months. This is going to become kind of old hat, but I think it's important to bring up during these times that I'm of the opinion this has become the cover charge for American society. That in order to participate in American society, you have to come to the understanding and agree that at any point in time when you are out in public with friends, family, and that's anywhere. That could be the church, that could be the mall, that could be the grocery store, that could be the park, that could be a movie theater, that somebody that could come in and start shooting for a variety of reasons. And sometimes that even bleeds out, and I'm using that term intentionally, into your neighborhood, as in the violence happening right outside your house or somebody just driving by and shooting at your house. In addition to the shooting in Michigan, we had a shooting at a restaurant in North Carolina. A guy was on a boat off the shore and shot into the restaurant over the weekend. And so that's what I'm talking about, is that this has become the cover charge. In American society, we've talked about it before, I believe we are now using our Second Amendment to express our First Amendment. That we have gone through more than 15 years of conversations inside of America where those people that you disagree with on a wide variety of issues, and it could be everything from religious to cultural to economic, those people that you disagree with are trying to destroy America. How many times have you heard somebody on the other side of an issue talked about as they're trying to destroy America, whatever that is? And it doesn't matter. I can go back to some what would seem to be incredibly innocuous things, but that were talked about at the time. Those things are trying to destroy America. And if we continue to, as you do something other than what Jeff and I do here every day, well, every weekday, Monday through Friday, where we have this exchange of ideas, this format of intellectual pugilism where Jeff and I can go at it, but when the show ends, we are friends. It's like professional wrestling. We are a tag team. We get in the ring together when that music hits, and when the closed music hits, we get out of the ring together. This is a partnership and a team, and we've lost that. We've lost that ability in our society to disagree because we've decided the people we disagree with are trying to destroy the country because that's easier. It is so much easier for me to dismiss you by saying, well, you're trying to destroy America. And because of that, I don't have to acknowledge, deal with it, or even confront any point or anything you make because you're just out to destroy the country. I can ignore everything you're saying. It's much easier for me in my brain to say, you disagree with me on economic policy. You disagree with me on everything on LGBTQ. You disagree with me on gay rights. You disagree with me on voting rights. You disagree with me on whatever it is. And I'm just using the me as the royal me. I'm not talking about Jeff individual. I don't want to make that. That's not the statement that I'm talking about, my partner across the glass here. I'm just saying that you listening, you disagree with me, using the royal me, whoever that is, that other individual at the restaurant, that other individual at the grocery store, that other individual in your social circle, in your neighborhood, wherever it is. You disagree with them, but you can dismiss them. You don't have to listen to them because they're trying to destroy the country. As soon as they're trying to destroy the country, they now have evil, impure motives. So they're not worth listening to anyway. I can discount everything you're saying. I can ignore you because I've decided that I am at the core right and everything you're saying is destructive. So why deal with it? Why listen to you? And you can even go back to Mitch McConnell during the Obama years. The Republican Party is now the party of no. Mitch didn't say, well, we'll sit down and talk to him and see if there are some reasonable conclusions we can come to and some ways we can find some common ground about issues that we differentiate on. No. No. No was the rule.
Well, Bill,
no.
Yeah. I understand that sentiment, and true to form, we're going to disagree here a little bit. Okay? I think
it would be odd if we didn't, my friend, after all that. It would be really odd.
Right.
Be like, I agree with everything you said. Like, well, that sucked.
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
On that note, like I go and enjoy Seder dinners with my Jewish friends. It is a wonderful time. I go fishing with my Mormon friends. It's a wonderful time, right? Like, I think part of it is this element that, like, you can't be in a relationship with anybody that you have a disagreement with because you have to use every moment to try to beat them over the head and convert them. I believe God does the converting. Like, everybody knows where I stand. I'm going to tell you about Jesus all the time. Let's go fish and have some fun, right? Like, we can actually have some fun, and I don't have to use every moment to try to drive an agenda. But I wonder if we were at a place now where there's a certain element of the population that recognizes soft targets and takes advantage of them. They're not at the same level, I would say, shooting up banks, shooting up military installations, shooting up, well, we could just say they don't shoot up ICE facilities. But they did the other day. But with regards to churches, okay, right now, if you run a school or you run a church, you better have somebody with a gun at the front door. I think you have to. I think there's a certain population of people out there that are going to show up at a school or a church and inflict as much death as they possibly can. If it's Evergreen High School, or if it's a Mormon church, or a Catholic church. In fact, the New York Times has an entire article about how the shooting in Michigan is just the latest attack on a religious institution. I'm not saying everybody out there with a gun, by no means, but I think you have a certain group of population right now that recognizes that they want to inflict as much suffering as they possibly can. They're right up there with the serial killers. They just love death. They want as much death. And they are looking at soft targets, and the entry points to your schools and your churches need to have armed people, because the only way we're stopping a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, the thing is that if that is the solution, then it needs to be expanded to grocery stores, malls, movie theaters, parks. I mean, they're restaurants. I mean, the guy in North Carolina was out on a boat offshore and was opening fire. And that's at a restaurant.
Correct.
So the idea then, now we need to have, some sort of an armed guard at a restaurant. So the idea, and I understand that these people are picking soft targets, and yes, because, and I'll go back to, and again, what my feeling is on it, that we are now using the second to express our first. That this person was mad, from what we see so far, the person in Michigan was mad at the Mormon community for whatever reason. And that's just what we know so far, so they expressed their first. We don't know about the shooting at the restaurant over the weekend as well. Chances are, mad at somebody, mad about something, chances are. And so whatever that is, that's their expression. They're going to tell you, and they're going to show you, and they're going to make sure that you experience the same pain. The shooting up at Evergreen High School, same day as Charlie Kirk. Same thing. Guy was mad looking at, anti-Semitism, and he was going to take it out. He was going to show these, and in my words, not his, my impression is he was going to show these dirty Jews what was going to go down. That my words, not him, my words. I'm sorry if that offended anybody, but I'm putting that's the motivation for him. That's my feeling.
Right.
Charlie Kirk, same thing. Hate, so filled with hate that he had to take care of Charlie Kirk.
Right.
That he felt Kirk was so filled with hate. That's it. I think that we've gotten to this place where I'm so upset, I'm going to, rather than coming up with the Charlie Kirk thing and talking to him and expressing that in the debate, I'm going to take these type of actions. The person that shot the church that was in Michigan just a few weeks ago, that shot into the side of the church as they were trying to do the opening school mass for the start of the school year. Same thing. Mad at that congregation, mad at that church, mad at that community, and had some other issues there. That's it. Or just mad at society. And so we've gotten to this place where now, I believe, we are going to use our second to exercise our first, that we are going to let you hear me. I'm going to use the largest, most painful megaphone that I have at my disposal, and that is a firearm, and I'm going to choose a soft target. And the problem is, if we say if it's churches and schools, then it's next churches, schools, grocery stores, churches, school, grocery stores, malls, churches, school, grocery stores, malls, movie theaters, churches, schools, malls, grocery stores, malls, movie theaters, restaurants. It continues. There's always going to be one until we live under martial law and you lock down everything. And that can't be the end.
Or you encourage people to conceal carry, which in many cases has stopped violence from being a lot worse. But, I mean, I think you're exactly right with regards to people are grabbing a gun because they have felt like they can't communicate effectively. So they're going to push it to another level. Right, they're going to. I can't just debate Charlie Kirk. I need to grab a gun and end Charlie Kirk. And so, in that element, I'm intrigued because, I wonder too how much in that not being able to articulate, not being able to know what your values are. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm pretty confident in what I believe. And in that confidence comes a sense of peace. Right? So I don't feel the need to go out and inflict violence on somebody that I disagree with because whatever. I know what I believe. You believe what you believe. I believe what I believe. And I'm just confident in it. Is there an element of lack of confidence when you have to grab a weapon to end the life of somebody you disagree with?
But what if you feel the person you disagree with is destroying America? And that's where I think our conversations have really spiraled, not ours being you and I, but I'm talking to Americans using, again, the royal ours, that our conversations have spiraled out of that, because how often have we talked about the idea that the other side is destroying America, that these people, and it doesn't matter, you can pick either, left or right, that the other side is destroying America based on what they're doing. So did the person in the situation with Charlie Kirk, did they think they were going to change all the hatred they felt Charlie Kirk was spewing and doing by having an intellectual discussion with them? No. They felt that based on the hatred and the damage Charlie was doing, the only way out was that. I'm assuming now, the guy in Michigan over the weekend who drove his car into the church was so upset and felt the Mormons were doing so much damage to the community and the society and to America that he had to take matters into his own hands. We have the guy that shot the United Healthcare CEO. He thought that what was happening inside of healthcare was so bad, he had to take matters into his own hands. He had to express his First Amendment rights by making sure these people, and it's these people who are destroying America, have to be stopped. We've been saying that to each other for well over 15 years now. So are we now surprised that people are actually acting on it? Are we surprised?
Good question. Good point. Join the conversation. Give us a call, 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. We're talking a Michigan church attacked, leaving at least 4 dead. I saw descriptions that people were injured shielding their kids.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. There was one, and again, this ticks me off. There's one recently, which again, a mass shooting, and I don't know what one it was. Same thing, where someone that was injured, severely injured in that shooting, was because they were covering their family at the time, and they got shot in the back and did some serious damage. And again, this is what's awful. This happens on the regular. I don't remember what one it was. I don't remember. And this is just in the last, 3 weeks. I don't remember.
Yeah.
And that's what he was doing. Yeah. It's awful. Yeah.
Join the conversation, 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Speaking of Danny C., Dan Caplis delivering bigly for families hurt in Colorado. Just got a $200 million award for that family that lost their daughter on that amusement park ride up in Glenwood Springs. Big, long case, 3 weeks up there fighting, exposed some injustices, and was able to get a big victory for that family, and more importantly for all of us, because if you put your kids on any ride now in Colorado, hopefully the standards have improved. Dan has delivered justice for Coloradans for 40 years of his life. If you've been injured in a serious motor vehicle crash, you got to call Dan Caplis. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Jeff and Bill show. We're talking this terrible shooting that took place in Michigan. Hearts, condolences go out to the LDS community who lost 4 in this. 2 shot, 2 found in the burned wreckage afterwards. LDS Church also lost its president over the weekend, passed away of natural causes, but hard weekend for the LDS community. And Bill and I are talking about this rise in violence, this violence that's now taking place against, even the New York Times putting together this article about shootings that are taking place at religious communities. And lots of thoughts go out to gun control, right, and the coarsening of our society and where we are. And Bill, I do want to just throw this out there.
Yeah.
Get your feedback, and then we'll get to Shane here in a second. The Christian religion puts strong requirements on its followers that you have to treat your enemies well. Even if you disagree with them, you have to pray for them, right? Pray, do not curse, bless those that persecute you, for instance. Christ on the cross saying, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. There's this element of humanity even in your opposition. And I want you to correct me if I'm wrong here. I do not see that in the Marxist worldview. That effort to restrain your own adherents with regards to how you treat your enemies. So, for instance, in the opening page of the Communist Manifesto, all of history is oppressor versus oppressed. If you go into that worldview of oppressor versus oppressed, from my perspective, you greenlight pretty much anything you do as the oppressor against as the oppressed against the oppressor, because they are oppressors. They deserve to be fought against. And so, light the Jews on fire. They're oppressors. Does Marxism have the same type of restrainment built into it that Christianity does with regards to its own adherents?
I don't know, but the issue for me is I don't understand why this is at least an either or, because it seems like you're saying that we either have Christians in the country or Marxists, and one or the other.
No, I'm just wondering why I don't see that in Marxism.
Well, and the other part would be this, is that if we're worried about, Marxists don't have this and this and this, then as soon as I identify somebody about Marxist, do I need to care about them as much? Are they now destroying the country? If I turn and I identify my opponent as a Marxist, you're living under a Marxist worldview. You're just a Marxist and a communist. And if I let you have any control over American society, you're going to destroy our society. So aren't you isn't that conversation just doing exactly where we started? That now we are saying, I don't have to deal with these other people because obviously this Marxist worldview doesn't work with my Christian worldview. So they shouldn't be, can't be. I don't have to.
No, I didn't say that at all.
No,
in fact,
I
said the opposite.
I'm not saying where you are, but what I'm saying is this bromide of it's either or does this, and if we don't think that the Marxists, I know, but this, I know that's why I'm not blaming you. No, my friend, I'm not blaming you. What I'm saying is when we start at that conversation, that's where it grows to. That eventually it becomes, well, if the Marxists don't have that, if the Marxists don't see it this way, then if I identify you, and again, not saying you did this, I'm just saying the growth of that comes to, now if I say, well, they don't have the same view of life and everything else that the Christians do, now if I identify you as a Marxist, right or wrong, now I can discount you.
Yeah, okay, so I feel like that was a tangent.
Absolutely it was.
And my original question, which
my answer is I don't know.
Yeah,
my answer is I don't know, and that's why I think it's dangerous. I don't know. I can't say one way or the other, and that's why it worries me that the expansion of that conversation leads us into a place where it might be okay to start shooting your opponents.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case at all, but I think that you have to analyze the worldviews that shape our culture, and I don't know if within Marxism, you have the same self-restraint you see in the other world religions, I would say primarily Judaism and Christianity, that say my enemies, I still have to attribute some form of humanity to. But prove me wrong. Let's go to Shane.
My understanding is, it seems to. Marxism does seem to have that based on the individual freedom doesn't mean that I get to then run my freedom all over you just because of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to Shane in Denver. Good morning, Shane. You're on with Jeff and Bill.
Morning.
Hi, good morning. I've got to get to work, but I want to make 3 quick points if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Okay, first thing, I was a 25-year youth corrections officer, and I saw a lot of youth and a lot of anger within them. I think there's three causes for it. The first cause, I think, is a lack of faith in God, a God that loves them, and number two, that will hold them accountable for anything they do here on earth. So that's number one. Number two, I think that most youth do not grow up knowing any kind of combative activity. For example, wrestling, martial arts, anything that can teach them combat skills and using their hands, because once they get involved in a sport like that or activity, then they learn that they can cause a lot of harm and they can also have a lot of harm caused to them, and it gives them a sense of reality. And then number three, that they are brought up with an idea they're a victim and that they have righteous anger to cause vengeance on others. So if you don't know the cause of physical pain, you don't know the way that you can inflict pain on others, you don't believe that there's anybody that will hold you accountable, and then in addition you have this righteous anger, you can get vengeance upon people, accompanied by playing video games for hundreds of hours where you can cause violence and there's no consequence to yourself. I think those three factors cause a lot of the school shootings and violence with youth today in America.
Now, why'd you throw the video games in there? Just out of curiosity, why'd you throw that in there at the end? Because it wasn't part of your three things, but you threw that in. What's the reason for that?
The reason is kind of the hours that these kids put in, and I would watch these kids at my facility play these video games, and they get very, very hyped up. They almost think that they are the person in the video game, and if they don't have those other three aspects to really balance out their reality, then it festers, it feeds upon this idea that they can go out then in reality and cause vengeance, get a hold of a gun, and then and especially if they're on drugs too, and cause a lot of havoc. So I think it just
I would disagree with that, Shane, because I grew up during the Mario Brothers world. Not a lot of my friends went on to be plumbers. Not a lot.
No,
just saying.
Come on, Bill. That's a dismissal of everything he just said.
Yeah, it is a dismissal. It's a complete dismissal of what he said. And the reason why is because we see these same video games played in other societies, and we don't see these same outcomes. So that's why I question the 1 + 2 = 3. Well, I don't see that because a whole bunch of other societies play the exact same video games, some more violent.
What you consume absolutely affects your life. Shane, I sure appreciate your call. Thank you so much. We'll continue. Join the conversation. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.